What's good, everybody? Welcome into Prime Time Early Edge. I'm your boy, the coach, and tonight, Week 10 in the National Football League comes to an end in Buffalo. Apparently, it's a little cold up there right now, but it's going to be the Broncos. It's going to be the Bills. Here's a couple of nuggets for you to kind of sink your teeth into before I bring in the stars of the show. The last three games, the Broncos are allowing just 15 points a game. Since Week 6, primetime games are 13-1 to the under. Just something to think about as we work through everything that is Monday Night Football. Now, if you're new to our brand, first of all, welcome. Tell all your friends we want everybody. But you've arrived at the sports betting show of record. I have the best crew in the business. So with all that being said, bring in the stars of the show. You know them. You love them. And here on a Monday night, what do? Do we go less? No. We go more. I go 6 wide. EC is here. Coach Phil is here. My 5-tool player, AB is here. Proppy is here. And the man, as much as do I hate to say it, did a great job filling in for me last night. But more importantly than that, as I was driving back from my appointment, all I hear on my phone is, oh no, number 4 into the club. So you, sir, have earned the 15 seconds once again. Your thoughts?
Well, listen, apparently 5 is the new 4, which is totally fine with me. Things change. But with all of that said, I don't even really want to gloat. I'm very, like, the whole community, like, there were a lot of people who put like some real dollars on Michael Mayer. We all know this is like more of a fun bet, right? But I know people actually bet them. I certainly actually bet them. It was really nice to see. It was so much Twitter reaction. Love that the community was all involved in this. And honestly, 4 is great. I'd love to gloat about 4, but I plan on hitting like 8 of these. So to me, this is just par for the course. Let's hit another one tonight.
Insane. Drives me insane. But alas, clearly Coach Phil today, who the chat absolutely loves, are you trying to channel your inner Sia by dressing like him today, or is that just me?
No, absolutely. I've been trying this for several weeks. I've been trying to tailor his plays, the tight end plays. I've been trying to do everything I can. You know, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and I'm just trying to imitate a very, very successful guy right now.
Bulletproof.
Interesting. You know, a few years ago, he started to do my haircut too. So, you know, it's just one or the other. It's one or the other. All right, gentlemen, we got to get into it. We got to talk about Coach Phil's keys to the game before we get into our board. So let's start with the visiting team, Sia. The visiting team tonight. Let's go with the Broncos. What do we got, Coach Phil?
I think the biggest question is, can Sean Payton keep pace offensively with the scoring that the Bills are going to have? All right. We know the Bills are going to score. They're averaging 26.7 a game. That's 7th in the league. And the Broncos are only averaging 21.5 points per game. And then they're only averaging 302 yards per game. So this is going to be a challenge that they need to match or exceed the level of output that the Buffalo offense does implement. Russell Wilson's been a pleasant surprise. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. Has been much better than a season ago. The 4 weapons in this order that the Broncos are going to rely on that I like the most would be Cortland Sutton, number 1, his versatility, the size, the ability to catch the ball in the red zone. He's an arrow up player to me. I like what he's doing. Jerry Jeudy, because he can separate, but the hands sometimes get you a little bit nervous about playing him. And then Jaleel McLaughlin's averaging 7.1 yards. And then Javonte Williams is a big back, short yardage, red zone touchdown. So those 4 guys should do a great job for the Broncos if they want to win tonight. Key number 2 is, will the Denver defense continue their recent improved play? Obviously, they're still last in yards. When you put up a stinker like they did against the Dolphins, it's hard to recover from something like that, but they are. They're trying to recover. They're last in points still with 28.3, but again, they're 405 yards a game. It's just they need to get better in those areas, and they have. Weeks 5 through 8, they've allowed only 3 touchdowns. They've gotten 5 picks and an 80 quarterback rating. But the one area that you really need to watch tonight is that they're allowing a 110 rating to the receivers. And there's been rumors from the local media that Pat Surtain is going to follow Stephon Diggs tonight.
Who did we just listen to? Let me ask you one very simple question. Do you want to do the work? I didn't think so. So on the Broncos side of things, Proppy, let's start with you, big boy, because last week, 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, this guy went off. Who am I talking about?
Talking Javonte Williams, coach, and I'm going to back him tonight. I like him to go over 54.5 rushing yards. You mentioned, coach, 2 weeks ago, the big performance against Kansas City. Very impressive. Handled over 24 rushing attempts in that game. We're talking about a guy that not only tore his ACL, tore multiple ligaments in his knee just a year ago. Very impressive turnaround. So I'm backing Javonte tonight against a Bills defense that was good to start the year, but has really cratered recently. 20th in EPA allowed per rush, 22nd in defensive run grade. These significant injuries have piled up to the point where they're just simply not the defense they were to start the year. We know Javonte Williams is the focal point of this Denver offense. I expect him to get 15 to 18 rushing attempts tonight at worst. That's why I like him to go over 54.5 rushing yards, and I also like his rushing attempts line if you have access to that as well.
And I will tell you that BetMGM has the best juice on this play. A lot of other books are up minus 150, not BetMGM, right around minus 115, minus 118. Love that play. By the way, Proppy, your boy, as you're getting out your take, just slid into the chat. Buckets 2024 is in the chat, coming off 2 pushes today. Yeah, we thought that was coming. Now, was Jerry Jeudy one of the names you said, Phil? Because I got a lot going on here as a host of the show. You said Jerry, right?
I did. I said I like his separation quickness, but if you're concerned about anything, it's just the hands and then the cold weather, just the consistency. He's a Deerfield Beach, Florida kid, so I always get worried about those guys in the real extreme colds. But we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I like to focus on that part about the separation, like when you run past a certain defender and you catch the ball down the field. In this business, we like to call that a longest reception. And I'm going to go over 21.5 yards tonight, minus 120. He's done this 4 different times already this season. As Proppy likes to say, the squeaky wheel is starting to get a little bit of the juice. So we're going to go Jerry Jeudy over 21.5 longest reception. You can get that anywhere. Now, EC. I'm staring down at my notes, big boy. You got 2 on this side of the fence, and you also like Javonte Williams in a different way. Talk to me.
Yeah, Coach, I can't believe I have 2 props for the Broncos. I'm not really sure how or why that happened, but I'm going to roll with it. We're going to go with an MGM bet, or BetMGM bet, more rushing yards, Javonte Williams over James Cook, and I got it at minus 110 earlier this morning. It was minus 140 last night. It's kind of dipped down a little bit. Simply, the Bills just don't like using James Cook. He's only had 15 carries twice this season. Only had 6 carries last week and hasn't topped 71 yards since week 3. Plus, Josh Allen kind of steals his runs, and you got Latavius Murray in the fold. Javonte Williams, as Proppy said, playing more snaps every week. I expect 15 or more carries as long as Denver can stay afloat. So I'm going to roll with Javonte over James Cook just because of workload. Then I absolutely love this one. Samaje Perine over 12.5 receiving yards at minus 120. And you're thinking, why the heck would you pick the 3rd string running back for Denver? They're paying him $3 million for a reason, guys. He has no less than 2 catches and no less than 15 yards receiving in every single game this season. Why is the line 12.5? They're going to use him as a passing game back, especially if game flow works in our favor. The Bills have allowed 10 running backs to achieve this number, 4 in the last 3 weeks, and they have given up the 6th most catches to running backs. Samaje Perine over 12.5 receiving yards. Coach, feeling good about it.
And your boy Specty sending in our AI projection. You can see it's been amazing. The new AI projection model that Specty and his team are going with. Amazing. You can see they have him at 30.8. That's 17 points of value. I absolutely love it. Now, you know me, I'm not one to stir the pot, but we may have another person, EC, that is not very happy with you. Maybe in about 3 minutes. We'll get to that. Proppy, stand by. Now, Coach Phil, we got to go to the Bills side of things. Now, the Bills at home this year, they've been dynamic. Away from home, not so much. Your thoughts?
Will the Bills players-only meeting produce results? I mean, we hear about these things all the time. Players-only meetings, are they good, are they bad? Well, Latavius Murray called everybody up on offense, and they watched the film, and they basically went by position and talked about what they could do better as far as offensive execution. Josh Allen's done a great job of defending Ken Dorsey in the media, so we will find out tonight. This is a really big game for the continuity of this offense. They're still the 7th-ranked offense in the NFL with 370 yards per game. Every player meeting that we've ever been in, they've never been 7th-ranked on offense. So the standard's high in Buffalo. Josh Allen's been sub 90 in 3 of the 4 last games that he's participated in, and this flat out too many turnovers. We had Kincaid with a fumble, Josh with a pick last week. It's just they're turning the ball over too much. On defense, all right, key number 2, can the defense build momentum for this stretch run? All right, is Von Miller going to be healthy enough to rush the passer against his former team in the Colt tonight? They're giving up more rush and pass yards than they have traditionally in the past, but they're only giving up 17.8 points per game. That's 4th in the NFL. Why is that? Because they're excellent in the red zone. They're the 7th team and making teams kick field goals down there and not touchdowns. That's keeping them in the game, and that's really the biggest difference between why this is more than a 4-loss team. It's been that red zone defense. So tonight, can we find out the defense can get back to stopping the run, playing great sound football, and turning them over so they can get off the 0 negative? They are 0 right now with their turnover differential. They've given the ball away 14 times, and they've taken it away 14 times. That turnover margin is going to be a key component tonight.
If it sounds like Coach Phil knows what he's talking about when it comes to a game in Buffalo, can you enlighten the good people before you coach with the Chargers? Where did you coach at, Phil?
I was the receivers coach for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, John, I see you in the chat. He comes on, hits the like button, then tells me he hits the like button, just like we tell him to do. Can everybody please do that? Thank you, John. I see you. Now, Proppy, let me come back over to you, because not everybody in the chat agrees with EC. And EC, I don't know if you saw Proppy's picks, but when you disparage, depending on where you come from, the name of James Cook, Proppy, take it from here.
I'm a James Cook supporter. EC knows it. Honestly, we can both cash this bet. So while it does appear on the surface to be sort of a James Cook fade, I do understand where EC's coming from considering Javonte Williams' workload recently. But I'm backing James Cook tonight, Coach. This is why. Going over 57.5 rushing yards. It's been tough for James Cook, but there is a complete contrast between his rushing production in victories compared to losses. In games the Bills have won, he is averaging 14.7 rushing attempts and 71 rushing yards per game, and he's eclipsed this in 4 of 5 games. We know the Bills are 7-point favorites or 8-point favorites tonight, depending on the book. I expect a healthy dose of James Cook, and it's a fantastic matchup. Yes, Denver's defense has been better after that week 1 performance where they got absolutely destroyed by Miami, but they're still 30th in EPA allowed per rush, 32nd in defensive run grade. This to me is a matchup where you're going to see the Bills lean heavily on the ground game on James Cook. We know this Broncos defense likes to keep everything in front of them. I think the Bills are going to take what the Broncos defense gives them, and we're going to see a healthy dose of James Cook. As long as we have a neutral or positive game environment, he's going to get 14 plus touches, and he's going to go over 60 rushing yards tonight, Coach.
Boom, boom, and boom. And to tell you that everybody, and I do repeat, everybody is listening to Primetime Early Edge, there's a big-time college basketball game tonight. It's Xavier, and it is Purdue. And guess where Brian is? He says live in Mackey Arena for Purdue game, but need to finalize the card, can't miss the show. That's dedication. That's what I'm talking about. You listen no matter where you're at. Now, seeing a John, I said at the top of the show, let me check my notes, that since week 6, 13-1 to the under. Monday Night Football is better than that for the season. So as I come to you, big boy, where are you leaning tonight?
You know, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is we're on and under. The good news is, just like yesterday, it's only for a first half. Don't forget, yesterday, one of my plays was that first half bet on the team that ended up losing. We ended up cashing that ticket, and really, I don't care if the over comes in on the full game. I lean towards the under for the reasons Coach just said. But the reason I like the first half under of 23.5, first of all, it's just a high number. But listen to what Coach Phil, to what EC, and to what Proppy have said. This is going to be a game where both teams try to establish the run, and it's because the run is going to be invited. Both of these teams are very bad defending the run. And for the record, you add the layer of red zone efficiency when it comes to these defenses. And for the record, Denver has really limited points over the last 3 games. Look, 2 of them against Kansas City. Look what they've done in the red zone or just in general from a points allowed standpoint. So with Javonte Williams, they're going to try to get him going. With James Cook, they're going to try to get him going. What does that lead to? It leads to longer drives. Some of those drives aren't going to end in touchdowns. Some of them will end in punts and perhaps field goals. That's what I'm looking for. I see this total in the first half being in the 20 to 21 range, not to the 24 range. And that's what you're going to need to get the over here. Give me the first half under 23.5 points.
My main man, Counselor of Cash, breaking it down for you just like that. Now, I've got 3 more plays tonight. That's right. If you're going to cash with the coach, you're going to do it 4 different times. Now, Proppy, I need your help with this one because my 3 plays, they're all kind of related. All right? So I don't think the Bills are going to cover tonight, but they're going to score. They're going to move the ball. And here's what I love, because where does the Broncos defense like to cover, Proppy?
They like to cover downfield, Coach. They like to keep everything in front of them.
Keep everything in front of them, like the tight ends, perhaps. We're correct?
Absolutely, Coach.
Absolutely, Coach. So I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid, who now has pushed Mr. Knox outside. The last 3 games, 10, 8, and 5 catches. His yardage has gone over 75 in all 3. So I like both. The catches, 5.5, and the over 52.5 receiving yards, minus 140. So that would mean somebody else doesn't get the flowers. And tonight, to plus money, as the counselor likes to say, not for the faint of heart, Stephon Diggs under 6.5 at plus 125.
Let's go.
Was that Proppy?
Let's go, Coach. An under from Coach. This is a momentous day. I feel like celebrating. What did I just see? Was this an illusion? Oh my gosh, Coach. Unbelievable. An under from the coach. I hope everybody savors this moment. We've worked together for close to 3 years, Coach, and I have never seen you take an under on a player prop, and it is glorious.
Is it the right play, though? That's what I want to know. Is it the right play? That's what I want to know. I feel good about it.
If Surtain travels with him, then that will, like what we talked about in the pregame, that will definitely help your chances to win this one.
Thank you, Coach Bill. Thank you.
And there was, what did you say about the primetime unders? Just what was the number?
Since week 6, 13-1 since week 6.
So listen, I was thinking about this. When you're on these primetime games, there's like an inordinate amount of time that you sit in your hotel room, and then you just got to get the players out, and then you get them on a bus, and it's just, you're out of your routine. Like the guys that put up the biggest numbers, it seems like it happens at 1:00 on Sunday. When you put these late Sunday games and these late Monday games, I can see why, just thinking through it, because it just seemed like the days just dragged on, and it seemed like we took forever to get started with the offense on the teams that I've been involved with, the 3 teams that I've coached with.
I've never really thought about it that way, but I kind of, when I was playing college basketball, I hated those late night games that get you out of your routine.
Exactly.
So you like see us play then, because it's a slow start to the game.
Yeah, that's what made me think of it. And when you said the word routine, it's exactly what happens. Is you have a routine. Like even like we're on the field 90 minutes before kickoff. At 1:00, we know it's 11:30. Now we're like, oh, okay, we're at 8:25. What's 90 minutes before that? Can somebody do the quick math? So it's like the whole thing is just a little off, right?
You see, he was not actually asking you to do the math. He was just it was a metaphorical question. All right. By the way, we're all pretty intelligent, correct? We'd say that. We're all educated, right?
Educated.
But there are times where I question where my career has come to. Frosty Fries. Frosty Fries says, Buckets, during the break, do you make NFL picks? Frosty Fries is asking Buckets if he makes NFL picks during the soccer break. Where are we at? Oh, my goodness. Now, let's get back on track. And when you talk about a routine, that one of the things we love to do is cash tickets where we think the ball should not go. We like to call it here on the early edge, the no-fly zone. Coach Phil, AB, you're up.
The no-fly zone is open tonight, but there are some things everyone needs to pay attention to because these 2 quarterbacks have been accurate. Let's pull up Russell Wilson here first. So if you are new to the early edge or the no-fly zone, what you have in the top left are the Bills' secondary defensive completion percentage rankings across the NFL. All right, below that, the SportsLine simulations of the percentage that Russell Wilson will throw in interception tonight, 70%. Now, on the top right, that is Russell Wilson. Bottom right, you see his stats this year, 16 TDs, 4 interceptions. So let's go to the bottom left, take a look at his interceptions and the splits of where they've come from. 75% of them have come on the road. He is on the road tonight. But in the red zone, look at Russ, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Look at his passer rating, 101.7. Russ is playing better, much better than he did last year, but much better than the public probably notices. Now, I honestly don't think Russ has a huge shot at throwing a pick tonight. Like, it could certainly happen, especially with all of those guys that the Bills have on the defensive side. I think they have 3 different players with 5 sacks or more this year. So that's where it's going to have to come from. All right. They're going to have to make Russ make a mistake. And when he does, if he does, it's going to come throwing across his body there to about the mid-left, middle of the field, deep mid, and you see the Bills secondary. Short left, they rank 5th in the NFL. Short mid, 9th in the NFL. Deep mid, 7th in the NFL. They can hurt you. Now, they're hurt themselves, but if you make a mistake, they can make you pay for it. Now, let's take a look at Josh Allen. So we move over, same deal. Look at the Broncos. Not as good. They have had some issues there. And as Props mentioned, they like to keep the ball in front of them. They don't necessarily pick off a ton, but Josh Allen has thrown a pick in 5 straight games. So let's just say that. 85% to throw an interception tonight. I mean, how could you bet against Josh? He's probably going to do it. Now, let's take a look at his interception splits. 55% of them have come when they are ahead because they really just don't have much of a run game. Look below that, though. Red zone, 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. These 2 quarterbacks are combined 27 touchdown passes in the red zone and 0 picks. Remember, that was Josh Allen's biggest problem last year was turnovers in the red zone. He has 18 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions this year, not to mention, I believe, 6 rushing touchdowns. If he is going to throw a pick tonight, it is going to come deep right or short right, essentially the same deal. If he's trying to do too much, the Broncos don't necessarily get after you as other teams do in terms of putting pressure, but sometimes Josh Allen creates his own pressure, but that's what you want to pay attention to. All right. These guys are very accurate. 71.3% for Allen. He's not making mistakes. But here's the last part. Take a look. 14 touchdown passes in the red zone, 18 touchdown passes overall. Same deal with Russ. 13 in the red zone, 16. What does that tell you with both of these quarterbacks? That they are not throwing deep touchdown passes like they used to do. They are completing passes down the field, and 79 and 81% of their passes, touchdown passes this year, have been 20 yards and in. So use that information in regards to your betting. Now, my 3 picks, I'll get through them really quickly so that we can see. If I can find it on the screen, there we go, right there. All right, and I'll pull myself up so that we can see it.
You never look better,
here.
AB.
Yeah, I know, right? Never look better. All right, first off, we're going to go Bills over 3.5 touchdowns plus 110 as a team. I think the players-only meeting is going to have a large effect on the Bills. Josh Allen's been saying it all year that they have a problem and they need to fix it. And what happens when you're sitting at home, all right, waiting for this game? You are just stewing on everything that has been talked about, especially Josh Allen. I think he's going to have a big night. Number 2, Broncos-Bills over 2.5 turnovers, minus 115. Again, don't necessarily want to play the interceptions. Don't hate them, but fumbles are going to come into play tonight. That's why we're playing the turnovers. Lastly, Russell Wilson over 21.5 rushing yards tonight because Russ likely playing from behind, and Russ will do everything that he can to get his team down the field and scoring points. Give him credit, 21.5. He has hit this number in 3 of his last 4 games, including one of them where he hit it in 1 rush. So we're going to take those 3. Let's go.
You and I haven't danced for a while, have we, AB?
Nope.
No? I don't think there's going to be 3.5 touchdowns scored tonight for the Bills. How confident are you in that play?
Man, it's tough. I mean, when you talk about confidence,
It's gonna be a showdown.
very confident.
All right.
I was thinking it would be weird to tell myself to hit the music. So it was like, let's just go ahead and do it.
Oh,
That was so funny. All right, it's official. We got a showdown. Me and AB. We haven't done this dance for a while. I've got less than 3.5 touchdowns. he has at least 4 touchdowns, and that is the play. Now, let's do a little rapid fire because we got 4 minutes till the top of the hour. We got some names that we got to talk about. So, Proppy, let's start with you, and let's keep this quick going around on the Bills side because a lot of people believe that that's going to be the play. I already played the Diggs under, but his yardage is at 86.5. And Gabe Davis, let's include him in this, 2.5, 39.5.
I really like fading Gabe Davis here. He has the deepest average depth of target of any wide receiver on Buffalo. Again, this Broncos defense plays more 2 deep safety coverage than all but 2 other teams in the NFL. They keep everything in front of them, and they love limiting plays down the field. As a result, if you can find Gabe Davis at 3.5, which he is on some books, love taking the under there. Slightly into the yards, love under 3.5 receptions for Gabe Davis.
The council is coming to you. Let's flip to the other side because I'm playing Jerry Jeudy, but I'm playing the longest reception. We got to look at the numbers here because when you look at the recent games, there hasn't been a ton of catches for anybody. Jerry Jeudy's 4.5. Cortland Sutton is only 3.5, 52.5, 46.5.
This is tough because you have to predict game flow when you're picking some of these props, which is why, again, I said this yesterday, this could be a really good live betting opportunity. If the Bills jump out to a big lead, you're going to be looking at not Javonte Williams, you're going to be looking at Russell Wilson passing to his 2 main targets, which are the 2 you just mentioned. If I had to pick one here, it would be Jerry Jeudy. I think coming off the bye, to me, he's clearly the more talented receiver over Cortland Sutton. Not to take anything away from Sutton, but Jeudy, when it comes to the route running and the footwork, I just think he finds himself open a lot more often than Cortland Sutton in this particular game against this battered secondary. So it would be Jerry Jeudy for me for sure. Keep an eye on those live bets, though, especially if the Bills jump out to a lead.
I encourage you to follow my guys on social media. They're constantly being active during the game. AB said it could be a big night for Josh Allen. His passing number is 275.5, attempts 33.5, and completions 23.5. And we're actually on the completions already.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, they don't like handing the ball off to James Cook. Sorry, Proppy. Maybe he has a big run, but they just don't like handing the ball off to him. We've seen that. So you know what? I'm going to play the over. I would sprinkle the over here. We're not going crazy with it, but I would sprinkle both overs.
See, the reason I think it's going to be an under, I think we're underestimating the Broncos defense, and that's picking against myself. I picked the Bills today on CBS Sports HQ, but I think the Broncos now I'm starting to feel it just a little bit. AB, let me come over to you because on the other side, you got Russell Wilson. Very much lower numbers for him, just 211.5. He hasn't gone over this number very much at all this year. 29.5 and 19.5 on those completions.
I actually like Russ in a couple different ways. I mean, we just talked about him in the rushing yards department. I like him over 29.5 pass attempts, which you can see on the AI card, courtesy of our man, the speculator here, because the likely playing from behind. And the Broncos, even if they don't score touchdowns, they do lead drives and they will go down the field. And Russ really is not pushing it deep down the field, but he is completing passes here. So I like the attempts. I'd even like the completions. The question with yardage, all right, and we heard it from Maestro earlier, and I'll pull myself back, is that there is a referee crew that has been known to call penalties against the home team, and it's been proven over and over and over this year with Big Bill Vinovich out there. So if you are getting a lot of penalties and those penalties are accepted, you're going to lose yardage, right? So just pay attention to that one. But I like his attempts. I like his completions.
Phil, that's a great point. When you're in the locker room, do you guys talk about who the crew is and the tendency to stay at? Yeah, talk to me.
Friday mornings, you'll have the assistant head coach will get up and he'll say, okay, Hockley, this is his crew. This is the lines person. You know, this is their top 3 calls. We have holding, defensive pass interference, and then roughing the passer. And like, so you'll get a whole like dissertation. Then they'll show like maybe 4 or 5 clips of each of them real quickly of each of the plays from the week before that they called the penalties on. So you have a real gauge of how they see it, how they do it. And they'll also send you an officiating video every week from the league telling you points of emphasis and things that are being kind of just looked at with more scrutiny from the league office in New York. So you have to instill those just like plays to your players. Hey, this is what the league said this week about penalties that they're calling. So they'll put emphasis on. So there's not only do you have to know the crew, but you got to know what the whole league office is talking about as far as what calls they're going to accentuate this week.
And that is exactly why we have Coach Phil on the show. Sharky from 41st Street is not throwing that into his betting show that you're going to watch on a Monday night. It just ain't going to happen. That's why we have Coach Phil. Now, Proppy, let me come over to you because we've already played the Russell Wilson yardage prop. But I remember somebody on the crew saying that when the Bills play well, that Josh Allen has to run the ball. His number tonight, 33.5.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly efficient number. I'd have a slight lean over. Watching, this is anecdotal, but watching Josh Allen, he tends to run a lot on prime time. Just something I've noticed. I believe there are some splits suggesting that he's averaging, I think, over 47 rushing yards in primetime games. He's obviously played quite a few throughout his career, so certainly shines there. The shoulder doesn't seem to be a big issue for him, so I'd lean over on it, although I do think the number is fairly efficient.
I love half in the chat. He says, Russ goes off, Broncos win, and no, I'm not high. I believe the first two things of that.
Well, I will offer that gentleman a showdown if he's up for it, Coach.
Oh, gosh. Do you want this? You want the Bills 7.5?
I thought he was just saying the Broncos were going to win, so if he wants to play win-loss.
It's not Bucket's burner account. He's not
okay, fair enough.
He's not doing that. All right, it is 3 past the hour. Anybody have anything else that we need to get across to the good people at home? Yes. All right, let's go, Counselor, and I'll come back to you, Proppy.
Yeah, a guy that I've been pointing out over the last couple of weeks, and it's come in whether I've had the official play on him or if it pays to watch live play. It's Khalil Shakir, who we know we're seeing a lot of more 3 wide receiver sets with Dawson Knox out. And I got to say, like, if you think that Stephon Diggs is going to be limited in any way, obviously some of those targets go to other people, maybe Gabe Davis, maybe Dalton Kincaid. But I think Khalil Shakir has really established himself. I've noticed his line because I almost put this out. It was at 36.5 at a lot of places in terms of his receiving yards. I don't know, like 2 hours ago. It started to come down to 34.5 now at a lot of books. So it's something to look at. Maybe it's something you want to look at in the live betting market after you see a few drives. But I think 34.5 is a pretty good number for Khalil Shakir. So I just wanted to point that out.
I love it. Proppy, go.
This is one of EC's guys here, but Marvin Mims quietly is seeing his playing time grow and grow for the Broncos. Prior to the bye week, he had played over 40% of the snaps in consecutive weeks. Didn't result in a lot of production. However, Sean Payton has spent a lot of time recently talking about and acknowledging he needs to get Marvin Mims the ball, and it's been a mistake, his usage early in the season. I could see him potentially playing over 50% of the snaps tonight. If you're a SportsLine subscriber, you know there's a couple looks that I have on Marvin Mims that I like quite a bit.
Coach Phil, go.
Just one thing I want to talk about with the no-fly zone for me, the only thing I wanted to mention is Justin Simmons, okay? He's a great safety playing in the back deep patrols. Josh likes to throw the ball down there, and this guy has so much length. He's a BC kid. He's got so much length, like about 6'3", 6'3.5". Like, this is a player that can take the football away from people, and Josh is not used to seeing guys like this. And when he did, I think it was Whitehead, got 3 picks in the week 1. So just something to watch with this premier safety. And
maybe playing even the juice. After that, I may still play that interception. EC, why is it Mims guy such a good look for people?
Well, because he had an offer when I picked him on this show or on one of the shows, Coach. So, he's due, right? He's got a lot of talent. He's a second-round pick. I really think Denver needs to rid themselves of Judy. They should have traded him at the trade deadline and give Mims an opportunity.
All right. Very good. Gentlemen, as always, great freaking job. Now, the fun portion of the program, as we like to say. Well, it's become fun for Sia. For the rest of us, it's become nauseating at this point. So here's what it looks like. If you're new to our brand, we like to call this the club. If you correctly predict the first touchdown of the game, you get a little gem next to your name. Sia's done it 4 times. Some would say 5. The rest of us are lacking in this department. Some more than others, Coach Phil. All right, Sia. An unprecedented chance at 5 gems next to your name in one NFL season. The pressure is on. Who do you like tonight?
I want to apologize to AB because I'm sure he's racking his brain trying to figure out where to put the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th gems, especially the 5th one, because it gets all kind of odd. Like, do you put 2 below Sia Nejad? Do you put 3 above? like, listen, if you want to call me and work this out, we'll power through this. We'll workshop it. But I'm going to go with Khalil Tupac Shakir. I've been talking about him for a few weeks. I love this guy, and I love how he fits in the offense with Dawson Knox out. I think he could be the forgotten guy by Denver in terms of coverages. You're paying so much attention down the seam to Dalton Kincaid. You're paying so much attention to Stephon Diggs. A guy like Khalil Shakir gets loose, and Josh Allen pegs him kind of wide open in the end zone. He's 25-1 in some markets, 20-1 here. I'll take that.
The best part of great trash talk is when you can't say anything back to it. And that is why Sia is one of the GOATs. And it drives me bananas, but I respect it so much, so much. All right, Sia's done. AB, you've got a chance tonight for your fourth. Where are you going?
So I'm going to give Sia a bunch of credit here. I mean, not only obviously, getting 4 and hitting that last night, which we were fired up in the text chain for, but he is actually correct that it was tough to put 4 little gyms on here because the spacing issue with the program that we use was not, it took me like 35 minutes. I'm not going to lie. So here's the thing. I'm glad that I figured it out because tonight, when I put my fourth on there, it's going to be so much easier. And we're going to do it with Gabe Davis at plus 1,300, quite frankly, because everyone's going to focus on Josh Allen running the football, and he will utilize that and just drop right in. And you know what? Between that and Sia's diamonds up there, we're going to start to look like Paul Wall's crib down there in Houston. So let's go.
Well, I mean, I guess one option would be we could ask Phil if we could put some over his name. Okay. Never mind. All right. Proppy, you've been sitting on 2 for a minute, big boy. Is tonight your night?
It has been a minute, Coach, and tip of the cap to Sia. All you can do is give credit to the man, but I'm going to go with Javonte Williams. I like his prop. It's rare to get a starting running back who's had the workloads he has be eligible for this gem. Typically, they're going to be in that plus 300 to plus 800 range because the Bills are significant favorites. Though we're going to get a nice number here on Javonte Williams. Only 1 touchdown this season. I think he's got a good shot, and I think he's a good value at plus 1,200. Hopefully, get me my 3rd gem and get back in the mix here.
All right. Jason says 5 small diamonds equals 1 big diamond, like a circus, upsize. You've been talking to my ex-wife lately? That's what she used to say all the time. Now, Phil knows her. All right, I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy, plus 1,400. Now, I'm going to go opposite everything that I know to be correct for tonight. I know the Bills are supposed to be great. I know. But guess what? If the Bills lose tonight, they will be 500. That's not a good football team. I think the Broncos score first tonight. I think Jerry Jeudy gets it done. What do we say about a squeaky wheel, Proppy?
Coach, it gets the grease.
It gets the freaking grease. I'm going Jerry Jeudy. EC, talk to me.
Well, Coach, no offense to Phil, but I'm not really competing with Phil anymore. I'm trying to compete with you to try to get that second gem first. I had to take Phil's pick early on. I got first to the email chain here. So I took the guy that I thought had the most likely chance to score, and that's Dalton Kincaid at plus 1,000. 26 targets in the last 3 weeks. Going to get me my second gem, and then, we'll talk about Proppy and I, going forward. Leave you in the dust.
Oh, my God. That's irritating me. I can only imagine what it's doing to Phil. By the way, does it shock anybody to know that a guy that calls himself I Love Weed has 4 ex-wives? Doesn't shock me.
4?
Not at all. Not at all.
Hey, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it right.
That's like a half and a half and a half and a half. That's 4. That's not a lot of money left.
It's not. That's probably why he does that. All right. Phil.
Hey, that's the pack code. He's got it.
Yeah, the entire chat is rooting for you. The entire chat wants you to hit it big tonight, big boy. Explain yourself.
Yeah, I love the chat, Pete. That's why I pop into some of your other shows. These guys out there, Jared and Buchanan, all these guys, you got just good dudes. Rebecca's in the chat. I get it. I appreciate you guys. I can't check the chat like some people because I'm not talented enough to read my phone and then host a show like Coach or Sia. They're talking about other sports sometimes. So, AB, call me when you got some real problems about putting a 5th gem up there. I mean, you're drawing amalgams on a weekly basis, okay, which I learned that word a couple days ago, and I'm going to use it. But you draw them every week, and now you're telling me that 5 gems is some type of sophisticated problem that you cannot, figure out. That I find that hard to believe. But hey, whatever. Everyone has their own axe to grind. Latavius Murray. The reason why I like him is because James Cook just doesn't get the ball according to EC. All right, and EC's now playing general manager and thinks Jerry Jeudy should have been traded at the deadline. So I got to listen to all these kinds of things. They had a players only meeting. Latavius Murray's going to be the guy that's down in the short area. Anyone else want it? Because I'm coming for violence right now. Anyone else? Just look into the camera funny, and I'm coming after you before I get through my pick. Okay.
Hey, I'm going to say this, Phil. If I was a GM, I would hire you as a coach right off the bat.
Why are you ruining his flow? He was going.
I can't help myself.
Also, that's not a compliment.
That's true. Sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
So just for Latavius Murray, and I'll stop my assault on everybody in the group right now and just get it back to neutral. But I really do think that he's going to get the ball down in the tight red zone inside the 10-yard line. He's a big, tough physical runner. He's the one who had the players only meeting. Plus, nobody's going to circle the wagons like the Buffalo Bills for me because my wagon wheels are completely busted out.
Hey, Phil, let me educate you on a little something. When AB puts the picks up there, that means you got to wrap. You got to wrap that stuff because it's now 12. That's his say wrap. Now, by the way, Chris says, this crew's hitting its stride like season 3 of a great sitcom. I absolutely agree, Chris, hitting our stride. Now, we've only got 3 minutes till the start of the game, so quickly, you see him. We're going to go through them one sentence from each guy. See you. Start us off.
He's right. Season 3 is usually when sitcoms hit their stride. A very astute observation. Give me the under in the first half. A lot of running game. Not many points.
Proppy.
I'm the neighbor on the sitcom that just hangs out with his cats all day in the lab, by the way. But yeah, we're going to go Javonte Williams over 54.5 rushing yards. James Cook over 57.5 rushing yards. I think both backs get featured heavily tonight.
I agree. Maestro's on the. I'm trying to get my underplay in for the first half for Sia. Broncos plus 7.5. AB, go.
Yep, the Bills over 3.5 touchdowns is going to win me a yardstick tonight. A nice $100 bill. Broncos-Bills over 2.5 turnovers. Russell Wilson rushing 22 yards or more.
I just got that first half under at 24.5. I'm happy about it. EC, go.
I hope Proppy hits both of his plays, but the Bills hate James Cook, so Javonte Williams has more rushing yards tonight. Samaje Perine has at least 15 receiving yards in every game. Why can't he get 13 tonight?
And I love Jerry Jeudy go over 21.5. All he needs one catch. That's all I need from him. Dalton Kincaid going to have a big night, 5.5 catches, 52.5 receiving yards. And Stephon Diggs, tonight's not your night, big boy. Tonight is not your night. In America, you're welcome. I gave you a plus 125 in addition to 3 other bangers. We've got the best crew in the I can't even talk. We have the best crew in the business, bar none. And we're just getting bigger. We're growing bigger. We're going to do more. So I want all of you to start getting locked and loaded as we head to the end of 2023. Because 2024, that is our year. And I can't tell you everything, but I promise you, we got a ton coming just for you. So with all that being said, it's time to enjoy Monday Night Football. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's go Monday night tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, level EC, Proppy, the counselor, AB, Coach Phil. Can he get into the club tonight? We're all rooting for it. It starts right now. I'm simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's what we're all about, even at night on prime time. Early Edge. Good luck.